Fine Music Breakfast with Annabel Drum.
And as we continue on with the morning here at Fine Music 102.5, I have a guest in the studio with me, Brooke Green, and she has some wonderful music to share with us. We're going to start with one of her own compositions. This one is called The Shades. There it is, The Shades by Brooke Green, and little pieces of Annabel Drum all plonked in the middle there. Hello, Brooke.
Good morning, Annabel.
Thank you for coming along. I'm sorry that I was interjecting in the middle of your recording there.
Look, it's going to be something I'm going to incorporate in my future compositions, the voiceover. The Annabel voiceover.
The Annabel Drum voiceover. It's a very unique kind of way of presenting music, isn't it? Tell me more about how you got interested in early music.
Well, it goes back a long way to when I first heard recordings of Monica Huggett, actually, on Baroque violin, and the sound of her gut strings just went straight to my heart, really. And I became quite obsessed with that raw but beautiful and mellow gut string sound. This was way back in the 80s.
And you've studied in different places, and I see that you've been all over London. You've worked with the Hanover Band, the Brandenburg Consort, and the London Handel Orchestra as well. It must have been quite an experience.
It was really exciting and thrilling. I was in London for about 5 years in the very early 90s, late 80s and early 90s, in the sort of freelance Baroque scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you sort of lived by the, sort of in a rather adrenaline type of way, because everything was just rehearsed very quickly at the last minute, and you had to be good at sight reading, and I always felt like they all knew the repertoire and I didn't.
So it's really cutting your teeth on it,
yeah,
isn't it?
It was. Yeah. It was pretty
back.
scary, but really fun, because they're just fabulous musicians.
So really gets you on top of your game before you get back here.
I hope it did. I don't know. But anyway, it was a thrilling time to be there, really, because there was so much going on. And even though I went over really to play Baroque music in Baroque period orchestras, at that time they were moving on towards classical and romantic interpretation. So that's why, strangely enough, there I ended up playing a lot with the Hanover Band, and I had to quickly buy a classical violin and learn to sort of play in classical period style, because there was more work.
Well, that's the joys of being a musician, isn't it?
Yeah, you just have to adapt.
You go where the demand is. Now, you've got 2 concerts that are coming up at the end of next week. Tell us a little bit about what you'll be playing in those concerts.
Okay, so after I was a Baroque violinist, I then changed to viola da gamba, and so now
that's the long one. It's more like a cello shape, isn't it?
That's right, and there are different sizes, and when you put a family of them together, it's called a viol consort. So the abbreviation for viola da gamba is viol, as in V-I-L-E, no, V-I-O-L really.
Yeah.
And so I have a group called Josie and the Emeralds, and Josie is Josie Ryan, the soprano, and the Emeralds are the Emerald City Viols, and we're a viol consort. So we always perform with Josie and the Emerald City Viols together, so hence we're Josie and the Emeralds.
And she has a lovely, accurate kind of voice, doesn't she?
Yes, accurate and expressive and moving, and yes, she's one of the leading sopranos in the early music scene in Sydney, if not Australia. And so our next concert is called Monteverdi and the Golden Age, because we're celebrating Monteverdi's 450th birthday this year with some madrigals, and we're also featuring music for 6 viols.
Which is unusual.
Yes, it's pretty hard to get 6 viol players together in Sydney. And there's some really fabulous viol consort music specifically for six viols from the English 17th century period by Gibbons, Laws and Jenkins, and we're playing that sort of music.
Right,
Yeah.
so both of these concerts are going to be in, now let's have a check here. One's in St Mary's Cathedral Crypt,
Yes.
and the other one's in the Blessed Sacrament Church in Clifton Gardens near Mossman.
Yes, that's the Mossman music series.
Right, and so did you choose those venues for their acoustics or for anything in particular?
Yeah, well, the Crypt is a really beautiful venue, as you probably know, and I've always wanted to perform there, so that's the first time we'll be performing there, and really looking forward to that. And we have performed previously in the Mossman music series, so we're very happy to be invited back there.
Lovely,
Yes.
lovely. Now, one of the composers that you've got there is Orlando Gibbons, and we've got a little piece of his to play a bit later as well. Now, he was from the Tudor age. I was looking him up, you see, and he worked for King James I and for Prince Charles, who later became King Charles I. So he was right up there in English music scene at that stage, as high as you could possibly go, really, wasn't he?
Yes, yes. He was a really brilliant organist, and he writes in a very contrapuntal style. This is polyphonic music, so each player has their separate part that they need to play. But what's lovely about Gibbons, I think, is that he's sort of between the late Renaissance and early Baroque. And I think he has a lot of audience appeal. Maybe he's a little bit closer to music that we understand today. And I think it's quite addictive and he draws you in. Yes. And the piece we're going to play later, the Silver Swan, is probably very well known. And that's...
Let's have a listen to it
Yeah,
now,
okay.
shall we? Yeah,
Right.
okay. Oh, that's really lovely music. I can imagine once you've got really good acoustics, that would be just delightful.
Yeah, that was performed in St James Church in Sydney. Mm-hmm. It's actually a live recording that we put on our CD, The Emerald Leopard.
That is lovely, very beautiful. Now you've got you're normally the artistic director for Josie and the Emeralds, but you've got your teacher coming out, Wendy Gillespie. Tell me a bit more about her. She's going to be the artistic director for this particular concert series.
Yes. I studied with her at Bloomington, Indiana University, when at a rather late age I decided to change over to Viola da Gamba. And she is a founding member of the very well-known group called Fretwork. Fretwork is based in England, and they're a pioneering group in terms of resurrecting music for viol consort, and they also play a lot of contemporary music. And she's made over 300 recordings, I think, and won numerous Grammy Awards for being part of groups like Fretwork and Phantasm. And she's really one of the leading players in the world in the rather obscure and rarefied area of viol consort playing. Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So it's quite lovely to have her out here. Just
I'm
for your
really
concert.
excited. She's coming next week, and she's staying with me for 2 weeks. So I'm giving her the royal treatment, showing her around Sydney. But she's also here as the overseas tutor for the East Viol School, and that's for Viola da Gamba players all over the country. And we meet...
They're all coming into Sydney, are they, for
yes,
Easter?
over Easter. Yeah, we have a 4-day workshop.
Yeah.
And she'll be one of our honoured tutors for that.
Wow,
Yes, yeah.
beautiful. Lining it all up at the same time. That's
Yes,
wonderful.
yes,
Very
yeah.
good. So now the rest of the concert, so you've got a mixture of some old and some new in there. And I hear you've got another piece that you're planning on putting in this. It's a premiere, is that right?
Yes. Recently, I've been writing pieces for refugees with a refugee theme or named after a particular refugee. And this one is called Bateau. And Bateau is a refugee girl on Nauru. And so the previous two pieces I wrote were for the other two girls, Shamin and Misbah. And I don't know if you saw, there was a Four Corners program last October showing the really terrible conditions that they're living under in Nauru. So I've been since then writing one piece each for those three girls.
Are they going to be used as a fundraiser sort of thing?
I hope so in the future. I've been at the moment just in touch with a counsellor who works on Nauru, and each time we perform one of these pieces, we make a video and we send it to the girls as a gift, and really just to show that we're still thinking of them, that we really care.
That's wonderful. So that's going to be premiered in this concert?
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful. So let's get some details on the concert. So Friday the 7th of April at 6 p.m. That's the one at St Mary's Cathedral Crypt. And then on Sunday afternoon, the 9th of April, at the Blessed Sacrament Church, Clifton Gardens near Mossman. And the price is the same for both of those? They're both from $30, is that right?
I think the one at Mossman might be a little cheaper. I think it's something like $25.20.
Right.
So you get a bargain and you get a longer concert. That one starts at 2:30 on the Sunday, the 9th of April. And the Friday in St Mary's Cathedral Crypt starts at 6 p.m. And that's a concert that goes straight through without intervals. So you'll be finished just after 7 p.m.
All right. And you've got for us a double pass giveaway ticket.
Yes.
Yoo-hoo.
For each of those concerts.
That's it. So if you're listening and you're really interested in coming along to see how flexible these viol consort, how they can be used in both early music as well as modern music as well, give us a call at the station 9439 4777, and you can say you want to come to the Monteverdi concert this time, so that's not mixing up with any other giveaways that we have. The Monteverdi concert, remember that you put in your name and your phone number. That's a double pass giveaway for both the Friday and the Sunday concerts. And anybody interested in buying tickets, if you're interested in buying them, you can get them through, you can find the links through the website, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
JosieandtheEmeralds.com.
Josie and the
all one word.
Josie, Josie, and the emeralds.com. S on the end of emeralds, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. And if you missed that, of course, you can always ring us here at reception and we can give you those details again. Thank you so much, Brooke, for coming along today.
Thanks, Annabelle. It's been great fun.
Okay, let's move along now. We've got a lovely piece from Lakme.